Well, good morning. It's Jeremy Britton down on the waterfront in Brisbane, and I'm doing something crazy because I'm actually outside. That is very crazy. And for the next 48 hours, I'm considered essential government services, so I do have to leave the house. But after then, I'm proposing that everybody just stay the hell at home. About 80% of the businesses have closed down here in Australia. We've still got petrol stations, supermarkets and chemists open. But there is a lot of people who are still wandering the streets because we aren't on mandatory lockdown, it's on suggested lockdown. And the coronavirus, yes, it is only a 3% death rate, but just because you've only got a 3% chance of dying doesn't mean you don't have a 20% chance of being in a hospital for a couple of weeks, hooked up to machinery helping you breathe. And it's super contagious. So there's a chance that it's been doubling every 3 days, the infection rate. And of course you don't want any of your friends or family to get sick, particularly those of you who've got elderly parents or grandparents or something like that, because the mortality rate is a lot higher, obviously, in the elderly, also in those with asthma and diabetes and other sort of conditions which may depress the immune system. So because the politicians haven't enforced mandatory lockdowns like they have in some other countries, we're still spreading the disease quite rapidly in Australia. So if the politicians aren't going to make the decision, then I'm proposing that we make the decision on their behalf and just stay the fuck in our houses. Don't go anywhere unless you have to. Obviously you may need food and fuel and medical supplies, but wear a mask when you go out, put your rubber gloves on, and obviously sterilise yourself when you come home. This is highly contagious. It's not just about the death rate, it's about the number of people who you touch, who may infect other people, who may infect other people. Again, the cases are doubling every few days because a virus spreads. If you don't understand how a virus spreads, then you need to look at multi-level marketing and these sort of things where one person can impact 15 million people within 12 days. If they just touch 3 people who touch 3 people who touch 3 people. Obviously, we had Tom Hanks, who got very sick along with his wife. And Tom Hanks was in Bondi Beach on the 8th of March. This is where the beach was forced to close because people wouldn't stop going to the beach. Because people think, oh, it doesn't affect me, it's only 3%. But the question is, would you go skydiving if they said there's a 3% chance that you'll die? Would you go to war if they said there's a 3% chance that you'll die and maybe a 20% chance that you'll end up with some critical illness or injury? We need to stop being so blasé and stop waiting on the politicians to fix this. Everybody just needs to stay on lockdown, maybe for 2-3 weeks. The financial system, the economic system, businesses obviously will go down, but will recover. Even if it takes us 3 or 4 years to get the economy back on track, we can do that. But the main thing is to stop the spread of the virus, stop the overload on the hospitals, and stop people dying, because we can't go back to work in 3 or 4 weeks' time if we're hooked up to a ventilator or if we're dead. So please share this, please stay home, protect the ones you love, protect everybody else. We're not going to have too many Hollywood movies or any of this stuff going on over the next 12 months because the contagion spreads very rapidly from close proximity. So we're in a changed environment and we need to act accordingly, and we need to act quickly, and we need to act radically. And if we need to close down an entire country for 4 weeks, I think that's something we could actually do, and we will survive. If we come out the other end alive, we can rebuild. So stay alive, stay safe. Talk to you soon.